Look at
Okay.
your hands work when you're
Mimi,
sitting down
that's
here.
cool.
I know.
He's flashing.
I can't like close my
Oh, no.
hands.
Oh no, they don't. Oh, they're kind of awkwardly. Oof! Look at them. They're
Oh,
kind
wow.
of.
It's like on the floor.
They
Okay,
They
well,
look
that's
fine
kind
to
of
me.
I don't know.
It actually
they're
fits with like the fact that I'm sitting on the real floor.
jaundice or something.
Hello, you
Hey.
two.
Hi, hello,
Hello, you two.
I'm assuming there's no one in there yet. Oh, hello,
hey.
two people.
Hey.
2 people
All
watching.
right.
Oh, 1 person.
Hi, Mimi.
While people are gathering psych, do you want to run that warm up activity?
What?
Sure. Although it might be confusing to people who are joining.
What?
Should we still wait a few minutes, you think?
VR.
I would wait like a couple more minutes and see.
All right, all
It's
right.
so cool that you
Should we invite people maybe?
Hugs.
Yeah, if you got anybody you want to send an invite to.
It's pretty fresh, I gotta admit.
This is the first
Yeah,
time I've experienced someone who's been in
Have
VR
we
chat
introduced
for like
in-game
months.
before or after the
And
little
has VR,
exercise?
and it's very striking.
yeah.
I think
Like,
after.
I don't think I can just say that like desktop. Oh, desktop users are the same. I don't think I can say that anymore because it's so different.
And then like we'll edit it
I
into
was
the
saying
show
the
if
same
it's
thing
like
earlier. He's like a
if we
different
do
person.
anything
Yeah.
interesting.
It's so cool.
But it might just be a warm up.
This is a
Because you
ceiling.
can show expression.
Piglet.
Oh yeah, that's a thing. I forgot
Hey.
that
Hey,
sometimes.
you're the one
Oh,
Piglet
Sonic-
showed my friend
Sonic's
around the
so
other
sleepy.
day.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I have thumbs.
Hi, Mozona.
It's
Good to
like
see
you
you.
guys
Hey.
really can see it, but often when I'm talking to
Papa
you, I'm using my hands and you can
Hello,
see
sir.
it, but we can finally see what
Just
Meme
enough
is
of work.
doing.
I don't know how they got the chairs to
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
do the sitting. To
You were
do the straight
hilarious
leg
the other
animation.
night, man. When you
How
were
did that
showing that guy around, my friend.
Hi,
I think it's an
Sonari.
intermediary,
Was
it's
I?
an intermediary code.
I get
I
121
got
off
Steam
there here and there.
It's a what?
It might
Put
be
it
an
in between, but
intermediary.
sometimes when you understand what I'm
SDK thing.
saying, it's funny.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
is.
Cube made this
Yeah.
room.
It's kind of the place to
Hello.
sleep.
So
It's a
it's
good,
This is
great
totally,
place to sleep.
this is totally a place to sleep.
Yeah,
My
you
goodness, are
probably
you
have a
serious?
During this
Full of
episode,
pillows.
everyone has permission
My
to.
performance is
line up with
my legs right now.
exactly, yeah.
I'm
Except
in
mine
an
are
awesome
kind of
room.
frames,
40,
but
45
yeah.
frames.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Shane,
Okay.
Not bad, actually.
Well,
Dude made
Oh,
this
it's
for
very
a support
animated.
group that we started. He
I
custom
know,
made
it's
this
crazy,
thing
huh?
for the support group.
Cool.
Now I
Which
can
is pretty
eat those
awesome.
I just
cinnamon
noticed
rolls and
double
rolls and
slippers.
VR.
Yeah, it was pretty cool that he like,
Cinnamon buns.
he got the feel
Oh,
for it.
slippers,
Bunnies
your
here.
slippers. Oh.
Hi,
Your
dude.
slippers.
45 frames is pretty good, actually.
Meme,
Yeah.
you're going to have to do Meme a huge favor. You're going to have to
She's
put
I
your
already-
get 45 all the time.
I feel like we could
Oh,
start.
yeah.
You wanna start?
Let me get-
Yeah,
I don't know how
let's
many
do
people
it.
are going to train in.
Exercise.
Let's get in a circle. Everyone get in a
Yeah,
circle.
everyone get in a circle.
Hey, here we go.
Turn my mic off.
Oh, should I sit down or something?
Well, you might need your mic
Sure.
off for this first part.
And hey,
How we
Carol.
go?
This
and
room holds so many memories.
I know it's so great.
Oh,
So
is this
yeah,
me?
we're
I love
gonna
that reach.
um.
Sorry.
This is gonna be about dreams. This episode is gonna be about dreams. So we're really excited to talk about dreams and hear everyone's thoughts and everything like that, especially about how VR relates to dreams and everything. And to start, we were gonna do a warm-up exercise. One thing about dreams that happens is this idea of free association. So this is kind of like a classic thing from Freud and stuff, but also in psychotherapy in general. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But in dreams, there's a lot of free association that happens. It's kind of like your brain is just randomly exploring concepts. So what we thought we would do is go around in a circle and start with a word. And each person like says the word that comes to mind immediately after that. And we'll see if we can get back to the same word.
Boy.
So yeah. If
So
we
wait, the
wanna
people
start-
towards the end are actively trying to head back to where we started.
No, you're just actually really just trying to say whatever comes to mind first, like immediately, and you'll see that
Okay.
it might not. We might completely derail and get far away, but Yes. Yeah, exactly. And so you don't want to try to you just want to like say whatever comes to mind. So, yeah. So should we start?
Yeah,
you
you
Yeah.
started, right?
Is everyone clear on like who will be next? Like you and you're
Yeah,
kind
so
of
we'll
in
go-
between.
We'll go clockwise, and
Okay.
Oh, these aren't working.
Looks like
What's
Oh,
the
hey,
other shit
CCL,
on?
join the circle. We're
Hey,
playing,
man.
That's not working.
playing a game.
I
Uh,
will be back in VR.
Yeah.
That's weird.
For
Your
VR.
hands don't.
A better in VR
Your
event.
hands don't
Fingers
animate
don't
in this
work.
weird custom position.
Yes,
yeah,
I
that's
can.
weird custom position. That's funny.
So Mimi, you
Alright.
start with a word and we'll work our way clockwise, I guess. So we'll go to melody
Yeah.
and work our way around.
What, you should have oiled yourself today.
And Sitting Duck and Meme, are you guys clear on where you are in the circle or whatever? I think you guys are the
Yes,
last
I'm
ones.
after.
I think
so. I'm
so.
trying to get back in my chair.
Okay.
I'm
between
between
Melody
Melody
and
and Ethan, I believe.
Oh, there we go. Sorry about
Okay, you're
that.
between Melody and Ethan, and then Hack
Yeah,
Spanner,
that'll
where are you going to be in the circle? We're going to go around and say the first
Hi,
word that
Duck.
comes to mind. And
Hey.
see if we can get back to.
There
All right,
might be a
you'll
seat
be
next to
right after
Double
Cowboy.
Goose.
Holy crap.
I guess
Was that your hand moving?
Cowboy here.
Yep.
Doesn't fight hard.
It's
That's
very
so
intimate.
crazy.
I like it.
it does,
Yeah.
yeah. I like it a lot.
All right. Let's start. I'm gonna start, and then Popo next, and then we'll just go in a circle. All right,
Okay.
ready? Okay. Pillow.
Fort. Yeah, pillow fort. I don't know.
Yeah. It's whatever comes to mind. The first word that comes to mind.
Don't think. Stop thinking.
Yeah, it can be anything.
Less thought, more reaction.
It has to be a word. Come on, you block.
Cave.
Oh.
Radiation.
Oh.
Oh,
Pillow.
Hey, Alex, ask questions.
Mimi says poison.
We win.
Thanks.
All right, I'm back.
Spaceship. Alien.
Meme.
Frog.
Jump.
Did we skip it? Oh, jump. Okay, whatever.
Oh, jump a cliff.
Off.
Sorry,
I said off.
Can I Durst?
you said
Bone
off?
fracture.
I said off. Yes.
On.
Ha
Stand by. Chicken.
Food.
It's chicken. You do.
Hunger.
Bacon.
Eggs.
Yeah. McDonald's.
Oh. Capitalism.
Oh, we're doing it.
What'd you say? Oh.
Herbivore.
A yeah, no worries.
Omnivore? Yeah.
Dinosaur? I have
You get
literally
this right,
no
TCL.
idea what's going on. The only thing I've
First
seen
word that
happen
comes to
since
mind.
I got back here is a bunch of people saying words, so I'm just
That's what we're doing.
words.
Said the next thing that pops into your head.
Yeah.
Yeah, first word that comes
Yeah,
to mind when you're a
random.
dinosaur.
Just random? Or,
Random?
no,
Yeah,
this
just
is
you're
just the
associated.
whole situation. Oh,
Whatever
dinosaur?
comes into your mind.
Yeah.
Bird?
Bird. Okay.
Glider.
Who's next?
That was behind you.
Right.
Flying.
Saucer.
Evolved?
What was it?
Mimi says Pokemon.
Monsters?
Nice.
Bed. Pillow.
Oh, we got there. Does that mean
Wait,
the game's over?
did we win?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we won.
We all win. We always win.
Nice job.
All right. Excellent.
Yeah.
We always win. Yeah.
Was that like
show my
Just
appreciation.
Was that
everybody say
weird?
random words.
Was it like
That was the game,
did you guys
so-
feel that there was a word that popped into your head like kind of immediately, or was it kind of hard to think of it, or were people in the middle, or what?
Just pop right in
Uh,
for me.
It's pretty easy.
Toss it
Yeah,
in.
just the next association.
Yeah.
Pretty easy to recognize.
So
It's easy when you don't think about it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nixie.
Does Mimi have a question?
Is it
Yeah,
you? Is
Mimi,
it
do you have
just a-
something?
It's freaking me out. That
Oh,
my
you're
hands
just
don't-
saying it was easy for you to.
Yuval is so excited to do his announcement. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Amy says it was easy.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so now we're officially starting.
Yeah. All right, Ghoster. Yuval is going to introduce our.
So find a good
Sure.
angle where you can.
Yeah, so he's going to be. Well, okay. Now we've got another big avatar. Hang on. The door needs to be visible to Ghoster, so Yuval can
could you-
introduce.
Thank you.
Oh, so this sand man.
Ready when you are.
Yeah.
You two
well,
go in.
Not welcome.
There you go.
hey, T, come on in.
Thank you.
There's some space around here.
Ready when you are.
Follow the non-moving fingers. Yes.
All right, do it, Yuval.
Greetings, humans, and welcome to the Aperture Science video game show. Today, we'll be watching the Endgame with your host, Nomino, Poplapo, and guest star, Psy.
Oh, you've been demoted to guest star, too.
Oh, ouch. All right, robot.
Thank you,
Please be sure
Gladys.
to obey. Please be sure to obey all rules, or else you will be hitting with neurotoxin.
Gladys, you and I have to talk after
What are the
this.
rules?
I think I'm glad I bounced out of the door.
Don't die. Neurotoxin in
She's like-
2017.
She's like, peace out.
So
Yeah,
thanks
I had to read-
everybody for coming.
Where's my
Wait, sit down, man. We're gonna.
I know, I had to readjust the, okay, there we go.
So today we're talking about dreams, and that's going to lead us off in a bunch of different directions that are going to relate directly to the metaverse and what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
Speaking of dreams, I'm scared of what
Psych
dreams
and
Mr. Pig's
Popopo
gonna
are
give me.
here. So I never check in with you guys. What's going on? How are you guys doing?
Good.
Us? Or
I'm
them?
doing
Did you
well,
have
thanks.
just you two or more? You know the.
We can't see where
ranking
you're
good.
looking. That's,
Oh,
that's
I'm
kind of
pointing
a
this
bummer.
way.
So that's always fun.
Okay. All right. Here, Psych. Tell us how you're doing.
Hey, I'm doing well.
Big
I've been,
boy.
I'm also confused because I'm turned around the wrong way and I don't know how to turn.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like in the seats.
You might just have to
like,
reseat yourself.
Do you have to like sit back?
I used OpenVR
There we go.
settings just to push
There we go.
myself
All right,
back.
I
was
got
like
it.
2 feet away from my
Alright, cool.
character.
All right. Yeah, I'm doing well. Actually, we've been I've been working in this addiction facility, and we've been putting people into VR who are detoxing and stuff, and it's been pretty amazing to see their responses. So I'm getting really excited about the future of VR and the potential of helping people. And I know I can be pessimistic about what this technology might end up doing, but I think that there's a lot of really positive things, and it can really change people's lives. So yeah, I'm becoming very hopeful about the way that VR might be able to be impactful for some of the mental health stuff I've been working on. So yeah, things have been pretty good.
That's awesome. So
What
this is
about
not
you?
just a fad. Like it's actually going to be important.
Yeah, well, my new mentor thinks so that's good. Yeah. Popo, what about you?
Oh, I'm doing all right. I'm going through a lot of changes in my life right now, so things are kind of in turmoil a little bit. But VR is a mainstay, obviously, and yeah, so I'm feeling good. Happy to be here.
Yeah, me too. I got nothing. Great. So this week, this week we're doing the community spotlight with Mad Men. And so the question is, where are we going? Like, how is humanity doing? Where do you think we're heading in the near future? And then all the way off, the ending, far in to the distance.
You mean the end of humanity, or just like the
let's
start of?
Why don't you get started, and then I'll see if it's going to be tragic.
Yeah.
Okay, so obviously AR is probably going to be a big thing, but that also means that we're going to end up sacrificing a hell of a lot more freedom than we have right now. Because with AR, the sensors, they're going to be everywhere. Like, you're not going to be able to escape that. They're literally going to have great great shots of like everybody's face for like eternity. That stuff continues.
So I'm entering psychopath territory then.
Well, I guess the company is a psychopath.
No, Psychopaths, the anime.
Psychopaths, the anime. Yeah. I just
Feels a lot
I do agree with that statement.
No.
Augmented realities. And...
Well, companies are psychopathic, but
yeah,
that's a whole different thing.
Enough about my boss.
Don't let your psychopath get clouded.
But basically, through that, it'll be interesting to see what the new addictions will be. Will they start to be a lot more digital? because it was kind of interesting hearing you talk about working at that and like introducing them to VR. Because for some of us, it is kind of an addictive thing.
Yeah.
But it isn't necessarily destructive. So I guess that all kind of balances out somewhat for some people. But back onto the future. So like with the future, we'll have to see where all this stuff goes and how much people sacrifice themselves to the digital realm when it comes to like building their life and ideas.
Are you sort of imagining like the abandonment of real reality, like Ready Player One style, or
no, somewhere in between? Nobody ever just totally dives. There'll always be people that will be like, I'd rather be out in nature. Although this is good for the environment if this stuff takes out enough, because then a lot of people wouldn't necessarily be going to like forested areas and destroying them. But I doubt that's how it's going to work. Be nice. Because you could theoretically scan everything and be good. Like,
so we'll have just a digital representation of like national parks, but the real ones are gone.
Well, I mean, and just like historical sites in general, so you don't have like so many people flying out to them. And that also could help with transportation if VR takes off.
How can you guys be thinking if at this point?
Yeah,
if
versus when.
Yeah, has it not taken off yet? Maybe it hasn't.
I think it's taken
I'm
off.
the only person
the price
where I
needs to
live
drop
that
to
has a
about
VR
half of what,
headset. I'd
like-
say it's kind of a
not
quite there yet.
Like the 400 is a good start for the Oculus.
Like a
but it probably
decade
needs to
for
drop to,
surely.
like,
Yeah, but
300
400 is just the cost of
self-contained.
the unit. You still have
Yeah,
to
that's
have
right.
a computer that's capable of driving it, and that's cost prohibitive for most people.
Yes, that's right. So you have to get the full unit, like self-contained, for like 300-400, and then maybe it'll go mainstream.
And phone ones just go supernova on your face. Those things get hot.
I know.
The self-contained
Put a Note
units start
7 in there and you have some
exploding
real fun.
So I think we're gonna get there. It's gonna go mainstream. But then, can you go way off and just like guess about the distant future? Like, you sounded pessimistic earlier. How far do you think we're gonna make it here?
Well, I mean, hell, we couldn't make it past. I mean, there's always a possibility we won't make it past the next 5 years, seeing the world climate we have right now. Which is sad, because like everybody wants to like point nuclear weapons. Thought we were done with that for a little bit. But like the really far future, if we can survive that long, it'll probably be. Hopefully, we'll start exploring outside of Earth. Be interesting to see if they do studies of zero-G VR. How that affects.
Yeah.
Imagine playing Lone
Talk
Dance.
about nausea.
Actual zero G.
Yeah,
GR
you
trademark.
really
You
have
thought
to get
nausea
your
was
VR
bad.
legs.
If you had to get over zero G anyways, like,
Yeah.
it would be a good way to deal with like long trips.
Actually,
because then you wouldn't feel like locked in.
Yeah, and what if you had an accelerometer in the headset and then it actually corrected, so you didn't feel like you were floating in circles or something like that? Like the environment could be changing. That'd be interesting too. But you think
People must have-
space is?
Oh, nice.
It's that one where
Is it
they
like
go
vomit
up really
comments and
high and
stuff?
like dive down, and
Yeah.
they have like momentary.
The good old vomit.
That's what
comments and
astronauts
stuff
do in
like
training.
Right.
Yeah.
They
So
must
you
be doing
think
VR
space-
in like those tanks, right? What are those isolation tanks?
Mm-hmm.
Sensory
I don't know,
deprivation.
I'm supposedly
Yeah,
on,
sensory. That must be a thing, right? Or
Yeah, they're
will
doing
be?
it.
I don't know.
I've heard of it, yeah.
They're doing it.
Barnacle
Gear VRs and stuff.
Did the Gear VR in the one.
Apparently,
So
like those tanks really suck when you have open cuts.
Oh, well, yeah, because they're sailing. Yeah.
Yeah, they're giant salt baths. So yeah.
So what do you think about space? You mentioned space. So do you think we're going to primarily, as the future
I don't-
goes on, be living in space or on the Earth? Or
I think it'll probably be more of an. Well, it could be a population thing. It really depends what happens with population growth. That's kind of what spurred on the whole like intercontinental travel and stuff. For the most part, at least America, it's kind of a overpopulation thing, and people didn't like certain situations, so they went somewhere else.
So that could happen to the Earth too, as we get too full and we try to explore elsewhere.
Yeah, and stuff starts getting really, really bad with, destruction of environment and pollution, probably.
Mm-hmm.
That's inevitable, unfortunately.
I mean, hopefully once we're off, I feel like there's a point where I feel like we'll be fairly safe as a species, as long as like the whole galaxy doesn't erupt, contrary to like what Ghoster believes. Like if we can get there, I think we'll be okay.
Yeah,
there's always a good possibility of like a giant high radiation wave comes through and just kills us all anyways.
That'll never happen.
Or like a
Such
solar
a ray of sunshine.
Yeah.
Actually, sunshine's what's going to do us in.
Solar flare, you could always...
A micro black hole could pass through our solar system and like destroy, the sun and everything like that.
Black hole in general.
That happening.
Yeah,
well, right, but it doesn't have to be a huge one either.
Alien civilization could discover us and fire a relativistic particle at the sun and blow it up.
All they see our internet and run screaming.
Lots of solutions.
Yes, there's lots of ways that we can die in space. And none of them are fun.
Or just in general, right? Yeah.
I think maybe we should start thinking about coming up with solutions about making us more adapted for space, like body modifications.
Did you hear about the
genetic?
There's a one-way trip to Mars apparently going on in
yeah,
Sweden.
Elon Musk. If you would, that's a good way to die. If you want to die, Elon Musk will send you to Mars.
Yeah, go to Mars.
Actually, I heard he's gonna let you die on the moon first. So if you want to die on the moon, he's gonna send you there first.
I would do it. Would you guys do it?
And then you can go die on Mars and like
go to Mars.
Shoot yourself in the head.
I feel like I might. Yeah.
Oh, raise your hand if you want to go die on the moon.
Part of this whole thing.
No, not the moon.
Well, I don't want to die.
That one person.
You gotta die somewhere.
If you were going to stay there.
There were like 5 people that would volunteer to die on the moon.
I think the people are going to stay there for 60 days.
Did you get a chair and sit around looking at
If you go into the moon, I don't believe they'll die unless they only are given like reserved for a few days.
Interesting
or
in
well, not
Mars.
a few days, like a few weeks. I'm pretty sure in a few years, able to get to space or get to the moon again. If we send one or more people to the moon soon.
Another thing we got to worry about is
find a way
huge
to
amounts of
exploit it.
debris.
Yeah, how come we never went back to the moon?
If we can find a way to make the
Well,
moon
there's
like
nothing
just
there.
really
Apollo 19
profitable,
movie or whatever
then
it's
we'll
called.
be there.
Wasn't that one song?
Corporations will
Just listen
go
to
up
that
and
one
mine
song.
it to heck.
Aliens.
I want my dirt cheap platinum.
Aliens.
Yeah.
Just live on.
one-
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Just one last question. Do you think that's air you're breathing right now?
Not sure. It might be.
Damn, I was trying to transition into dreams, but that's like a Matrix reference. What's a dream reference?
yeah.
With like an
It
Inception
is the
thing.
Matrix. Well, you were almost there because in the Matrix,
What is that?
what's his name? Morpheus, who is named after the god of dreams, like talks about how that you look around and you accept the world like you're living in a dream because you expect to wake up. There's that. Or like if you were in a dream, how would
Yeah. Oh, so like, I mean, when you talk about the end of humanity, I think more of, would you mean like the end of humanity as it is now? Because if we start to become spacefaring, we'll probably not be the same if we're smart about it by the end of it.
Yeah, whichever way you can imagine it, dude. Like, either we're going to die or we're going to transition into a new phase. Inevitably, our biology won't stay the same regardless. And so,
yeah.
Kind of with Delters and Martians.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We're all going to be one color maybe at some point.
We should find a way to do high pressure.
Martian?
Or no pressure, sorry. Keep oxygen in our blood. That'd be a good way to survive space.
I guess I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Just digitize the whole thing.
Yeah. By the way, we're not going to space, dude. It's all going to be virtual. We're stuck here. We're gonna go inside.
I don't know about that.
That's my new
'Cause
decision.
We're gonna run out of material.
We're stuck in a world of
Sooner than later.
racism and bulliness.
Well, not if we
Can do.
stop reproducing. If everybody goes into VR, then we can just stop reproducing.
And then all the problems are solved.
So Japan knows
Yeah,
something.
there
It
we
all
go.
comes back to teledildonics.
Exactly. That's Japan is
Just God, we
Very
keep joking about
quiet.
it, but we'll tell
can't
Dildonics
talk
be
about
the
it.
humanity.
Teledildonics.
It really will.
You'll could do a show about it, okay?
That's right.
Newest service on Amazon.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah,
Thank
well,
you
thanks,
so much.
Figure out a way to ship
Good
that
job.
stuff.
Thanks, Madman. Thanks for sharing your thoughts with us.
The trick.
I'm glad your views are as morbid as mine.
Yeah, Madman.
We're gonna have to get into yours at some point so we can try and pick them apart, but not today.
Yeah.
Today we're talking about dreams,
Yay.
the fun and exciting thing that everyone gets to
Tiny
do all the
devil hearts.
time. And
Mostly.
I don't know, do they mean anything? Are dreams important, or is it just a bunch of bullshit in your brain? What do you think?
Nobody knows, actually. Literally nobody knows yet.
It depends on how you
there's
explore it.
My dreams
Well-
mean something. I'm scared.
I mean, what they mean is, I mean, to determine something's meaning, you have to like to determine the meaning of a language, you have to be able to parse the language. You have to be able to know what to look for and what you're looking at. And what we wanted to talk about is different ways of exploring dreams that could lead to better understanding of ourselves generally, or maybe even the world or the universe at large. One of those ways of exploring is lucid dreams. Does anybody here have any experience with lucid dreaming?
I wish.
What's that?
Or does,
Oh, wow, not
doesn't?
many.
Okay, so lucid dreaming is when you're in a dream, but then while you're in the dream, you're aware that you're dreaming. You look around at your environment and you know this is a dream. I'm not really awake right now. And then when you're in, sometimes when you're in a lucid state like that,
I wish
you
that would
can-
happen to me.
Well, it can happen. You can train yourself. Well, you can train yourself to do it with some more reliable effects than others. I've been trying for like years, and I've never gotten more frequency than like one lucid dream a month. But that's still like it's been
That's
really
still
interesting to do.
That's better than
I
most
had that for a little while. Yeah. But lucid dreaming, you don't always have control in a lucid dream. I don't think I've ever experienced that. Like sometimes even when I wake up in the dream, everything is still just kind of going on as it is, and like I can't like reach out and affect stuff. Although I know that that's not always the case. Now,
I thought that was the whole point. Yeah, I thought
Yeah.
that was why we all wanted to lucid dream, so you could just fucking take off and fly around and do whatever you wanted.
You can fly for a period of time, but then you start to like drop. Like you always start to lose height, and then you're like, I can't fly anymore. Like,
what's that about? Because that is what happened to me. I was like, oh, I'm doing it. I'm lucid dreaming. I'm flying, and then I can't keep it up. Like,
it stops believing that you're capable of these
So
things.
the
The
longer my
closer it
dreams
gets
go, the
to
more physics and reality creep into them.
Yep.
yeah.
what if
When
I
you're
listen
in
to
your
my
brain,
heart?
do you have
Reality.
When you're in your
Oh,
world, do
sorry.
you have a totem?
No. No.
I have not been able to
one of
lucid dream since inception, so that
Oh.
That movie ruined it for you.
It ruined it. Yeah.
So what about reality testing? Is that what's happening there? Like when are you kind of saying, oh, I'm in control of my dream, but now is this a dream or not? Oh, I'm flying. Oh, wait, I shouldn't be able to fly. And then
Well, reality testing if you're training to lucid dream, reality testing is a technique that you're supposed to kind of get into a habit of every day. So like every half hour or something, you're supposed to do something that's a reality test. Like you look at some text and then like look at it multiple times to see if it changes, or check the time to see if it changes, or try to like put your finger through your hands, which doesn't work if you're familiar with VR because clipping is like a normal thing. But basically, you're supposed to get into the habit of it, so that when you're dreaming, you'll also be in the habit of it, and that'll like trigger you to remember to check to see whether you're dreaming. So is that what you're talking about, or was there a
Well, I'm
different
curious
thing
about
you
the
were
flying
referring?
thing because I was Yeah, I was thinking about like, do you do reality testing in the dream? Is that what's happening?
No, well, yeah, basically, like reality testing is one of the methods to get yourself into a lucid dream state. And then, like, once you're there, in theory, flying is one of the things that everyone's going to try to do. Like, once you figure out, you're like, oh, I'm dreaming, I'm going to try this now. You know, maybe you can do it.
You wake up.
What are some, like, so that's definitely one that I got into. That's how I was able to figure it out, like, years ago. What are some other, like, good methods of getting into lucid dreaming? Like, I know one is just keeping the habit of, like, a dream journal, because, like, that gets you to sort of remember your dreams more often. Like, you're sort of exercising that part of your brain, remembering what's going on.
Yes.
Because you might be lucid dreaming and just not remembering it. So you got to get used to, like, remembering your dreams every night.
I do remember there were a couple of specifics that you could look for. Like, I used to try to lucid dream and I could never do it. But one of them was dream signs, where there's certain things that happen in dreams that you tend to recognize.
Waking life triggers.
It varies from person to person. Another one, which is weird, and I don't know if this bears out or if it's just something that was said to me and made sense, but mechanical devices tend to malfunction more in dreams. Like a recurring sign that I see is I'll be going toward a light in my car, and I'll try to press my brakes and my brakes don't work, and I sail through the light. But for some reason, mechanical devices tend to be less reliable.
It sounds more like a nightmare.
That actually does.
I've heard that before too.
I have like recurring mechanical issues in mine as well.
Yep.
Is it operating the machine?
No, these are like elevators.
Yep.
It's weird. They'll either swing like they're off rails, or they'll become claustrophobic. These are just weird.
Psycho Yama had his hand raised. If we want.
Oh, sorry.
I want to hear from you.
I was very into lucid dreaming before I heard about VR. I honestly got into VR because I failed at lucid dreaming, but and what got me into
next best thing.
What got me into that was this Kickstarter thing called it was a face mask called a Remy.
Yep.
And you know, it's really interesting to start thinking about, like, of course they're hit and miss, but, like, thinking about all these, like, different products that they say that are going to give you, like, lucid dreams that, they have, like, flashing lights and, like, what else? EEG, REM detectors, etc. Like, I'm surprised that hasn't caught on in a similar way to VR has.
So it didn't work for you?
Could it be because it doesn't work?
The thing is, well, it was interesting because I actually got my Remy, and it has, like, flashing lights that's supposed to, like, indicate to you, like, oh, you're in a dream. You can see these red lights. You should probably become lucid. And they worked somewhat. Like, it actually made, increased my lucidity, but I wasn't able to sort of see those lights. What was the problem was that headset, or not headset, that mask ran on a timer instead of having, like, specific sensors that detected your REM cycles. But yeah, like, I still find value out of it. I actually dug out my mask recently, and I'm planning on sort of getting it back into the groove of that. So yeah, like, it's interesting that
get success.
Yeah, it's interesting that like, lucid dreaming hasn't caught on as much as VR, because, like, VR, it's very like, put it on, you're in there, but, like, the lucid dreaming is very, like, very personal experience.
You have all five senses.
It's hard to do.
Yeah, you have all five senses. That's the thing. That's the difference between lucid dreaming and VR. But we are able to connect we are able to connect socially through this medium, of VR, which is, something that isn't proven with lucid dreaming. It's a very weird space, that it's a natural reality that we create within our minds, and, like, that's an amazing thing to think about, Anyways, thank you for letting me.
Ron, what do you got for us?
Hey, I was working. I was actually watching this on YouTube, and I was like, oh wow, I just want to get in and say.
He was the one user.
Now there's nobody watching.
I'm really into lucid dreaming, and I've actually naturally been able to do it a lot, and without using any equipment or techniques or anything. And the two things I'm curious about are, one, I'm like have a really imaginative mind, so my dreams are pretty bizarre. But I'm also wondering if people are more creative or not. I've never studied it, but question number one is sort of, are certain mindsets more open or easier to accept the lucid dreaming or happens naturally. And then the second thing I've noticed, and I actually did some research on, is anything mechanical doesn't work for me anyway.
Yeah,
and
you
that's
mentioned that.
supposedly a thing, like where I know how it's supposed to work, but light switch won't turn.
Right.
And as the more you try to get into it, the worse it sort of.
Yeah.
It gets worse and worse. The problem gets harder and harder and sort of unravels, which is really bizarre.
Yeah, let's
so as I read a lot of
about that as a dream pattern, so that you can recognize you're in a dream when stuff like that happens, when your mechanical thing doesn't work. It can be a trigger for you to remind yourself to do a reality check, which we mentioned a little bit earlier.
Go for it, Gallium. Just go for it. Just hop in.
Just something sort of related to that.
Yeah.
I don't have that problem with machines. Funny enough, in my dreams, lucid or otherwise,
really?
they work really well. Like, to the point where
So if I was driving a car, like was driving a Porsche in one of my dreams, and I pulled back on the steering wheel to make it fly, and it went up into the air, and it flew around for a while, which was cool, and then it was kind of hard to control. But when I tried to do anything else with the car, it started to fall apart. So there's certain things that I feel like do kind of work, but then there's more complex machines that seem, the more complex it is, or the more mechanical, for me anyway.
It's
interesting. I'm curious what kind of machines.
Go ahead.
It reminds me of on acid, people report the same kind of thing actually with mechanical objects not working as well.
On acid?
No. Just when they're on the substance,
Oh,
But
okay.
it's interesting because both acid and dreaming, I mean, there's a talk about like subconscious and your perceptual awareness, and so perhaps there's something about the human consciousness that's limited to real and living things, and somehow both in a dream when you're having to explore mechanical objects, or when if someone's on acid or something and trying to interact with a mechanical object, perhaps there's some similar deficit in some kind of perceptual interaction with these kind of complicated inanimate objects or something like that.
So our brain sort of processes like entities differently than things that we think are like not alive. Sort of, is that?
Yeah, perhaps.
Yeah, I find people that really will like walk in and act all on their own and have their own personalities and everything, like just being created by my brain. A whole interaction's happening, but like, I go to turn on a light switch or a TV or a blender and it doesn't work. But at least that's from my experience.
Wait, I had a quick question following that up. Like, Psych, he was mentioning like how different kinds of, like, he's really he's doing it without having to do any testing or preparation. Like, are there certain types of people that remember their dreams more or have more active dream life? Like, does it matter what kind of person you are, or is it completely arbitrary?
I think you can be, I think it's not clear whether there's like a trait or whether it's something about someone's life and the way that they experience life. So it's kind of unclear. I mean, I don't know what the research really says about that. I do know that there's a spectrum of people. One important thing, I'm not sure if everyone's aware that, like, we're all dreaming every night, and it's really a question of whether you're remembering your dreams. So it's actually possible that a lot of us are having lucid dreams, but we're just not remembering the fact that we're having a lucid dream.
What a bummer.
I know. That's true.
That's part of what the dream journal is for. So if you keep a dream journal at night, you're not only you're not only just remembering the dreams that you had that night, but one of the hypotheses is that you're basically kind of training your brain to remember it better, as you're dreaming, so that it'll kind of remind itself to take better notes, while it's going through the actual dream, if it knows that you're going to be writing it down in the morning. This is kind of the idea. So I
definitely noticed that worked for me.
Lucidity. Yeah, well, good. Readings has had his hand up for a while.
Yeah, well, actually going all the way back to Sakayama, the headset you have, it uses lights to on a timer to try to create lucidity in your dream. That could actually be, because there's multiple people that sleep in VR chat. You could actually create a VR chat room that's like dark and then blinks after a certain amount of time. You could actually create a VR chat room to take place.
Yeah, the problem with that is the headset, though.
I don't know how people do that.
I think Sonic is that one now.
I know.
And
really,
right, guys?
Are you guys talking about lucid dreaming?
Yes. Sit down and join in.
I'm not.
Come on
in.
Yeah, could you like tell us what we're talking about for everyone who came in late?
Yeah, so we're
dreaming.
Our topic tonight is dreaming in general, and so we are just kind of starting off talking about with the various ways you can explore dreams, and so one of those ways is lucid dreaming, but that's like if you don't have experience with lucid dreaming, well, first of all, check it out if you're interested, because like we said, like you can train yourself to do it, or you can learn techniques, and there's lots of techniques out there that we haven't like approached. But there's like visualization. Well, and it's going to be different for everyone, but there's like visualization techniques you can use as you're trying to fall asleep, or there's like different sleep patterns you can kind of coerce yourself into so that you'll be more likely to lucid dream. So there's a lot of information out there. The lucid dreaming subreddit is a good one for that. But
can I get a quick
also...
poll? Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I was going to ask, like, following Reachings, like, how many people here have actually slept in VR? Like, if you've actually slept, can you give me like a exclamation? Oh wow! It's like 1, 2, 3, 4.
How is that possible? I've fallen asleep in VR on accident.
I want to give credit.
I fell asleep by accident.
Oh wait.
I want to give credit.
Share users.
Oh yeah, you did.
I slept in a tree once.
I
read on Reddit that people are saying that when you wake up and you're in VR, your mind sort of like calibrates it as more real or something. Is that true?
Well, anyone who's done it, like, have you experienced that when you wake up?
Oh, I did the opposite.
I don't know about that.
I woke up in real life and I was so confused why the tracking was so good.
On multiple occasions, I've tried to teleport to my bathroom multiple times, waking up in the middle of the night.
Oh,
and I try to teleport towards my bathroom.
That happened to me after my first week of using VR. I went out to the grocery store, and it was all the way on the other side of the block, and I instinctively just raised my hand to try and teleport to it, and I was like, whoa.
I want to give
I
want to give credit to the Phantom. He was actually brought the idea to sleep in VR, here in VR chat, and thanks to him, we all do this.
No, it was done a year ago, but
I
fell asleep with
it
too long.
We just didn't do it. It's happened. It's happened quite a bit.
I'm curious about if whether dream life would change in VR. I guess if you could do it comfortably, sleep comfortably, but like, would your dream change if you fell asleep in VR? Like, would that?
Well, I tried it. It didn't happen to me.
Yeah,
I think the main thing with VR is that the waking. So part of this is like there's waking life triggers, which is a big when you're using in psychotherapy. If your dream is being analyzed, these are the kind of roots of how you associate like what's happening in the dream with what's happening in your real life. And so I think the waking life triggers could be changed based on your VR experiences because. Like, for example, this room could be a waking life trigger in a dream because we've been in it now. But if I've never actually been in this room in real life, but, I could dream about it and things like that.
Plus, I imagine it's different for different people. Everyone's dreams, I think, get cooked differently. Like, I just tend to dream about the stuff I did during the day. So if I did mostly VR for an entire day, it's likely I would have a VR-related dream.
Yeah,
I still don't have VR dreams.
VR. Oh, really?
Yeah, they're
I
all
remember
real
from
life.
when I wake up. I
VR's not
remember
real
when I first wake up from sleeping in VR. My face was red all the time because of the headset.
Right.
Mr. Pinky, you've had your hand up.
Well, Psych said that everyone dreams every night. I haven't remembered a dream, and I can't even tell you how long. If I dream at night, how many people in here actually either don't dream or don't remember dreams?
Like, that's,
I don't remember actually.
On that topic, do you
Yeah.
have apnea or anything like that? I noticed that
I do.
I had apnea. Once I had that treated, I started dreaming a lot more and a lot more frequently. Once I got my stuff treated for my sleep apnea.
That makes sense.
Probably
If
not
you're waking
getting
up too much, you can't really drop into rest.
Because then it gives you
The
a more
apnea's
solid.
waking you up.
It's like a CPAP machine or something.
Yeah,
I use a
unfortunately. That's why I can't sleep with VR on. I need other hardware on my head to sleep, so I can't have this hardware on my head. I got to swap hats.
But you already do, Mr. Pinky. You said you already do use the CPAP. So
Yeah, I
you
use
are
CPAP.
getting the
I've
REM
been using
sleep.
CPAP for like 2 or 3 years now, and it monitors to like tells it sends information back and forth, and they monitor it and change the pressure if it's needed or what have you.
It'll tell you how many times you like wake up in the middle of the night and all that kind of interesting. That's interesting to see when you like get your like stats back, because Fitbits and stuff can track that, but it's tracking movement. A CPAP will actually like register your breathing and all that stuff.
And
it gives you a score.
I haven't
For
remembered
that.
dreams in forever.
I record.
And it's been much longer than I've used the CPAP.
Oh,
well, I mean, there's also this thing where dreams get deleted from your memory a short time after you wake up. So usually, if I want to remember a dream, then as soon as I wake up, like before I even sit up, before I have the energy to sit up, I just repeat out loud everything that I dreamed, because your brain basically deletes what it constitutes as not real, as not having actually happened. So once you repeat it out loud, you make a real world memory of it, so it doesn't delete it. You know?
That's interesting. I'm trying to remember the dream. It erases as I'm trying to remember. So that's really interesting.
One thing I've found to help It's best to keep a tape recorder for these things. You know, just say it tape out loud, and then
Smart.
yeah, instead of having
Another thing
an
I've-
actual journal, you have to write and spend too much energy writing in it.
Another thing I've found that helps on the remembering your dreams, lucid or otherwise, is when you wake up, don't move. Because I found out the other way around, that if you have a terrible dream that you really do not want to remember, as soon as you've woken up, start moving around as much as you can, like walk around the house. And I find, at least for me, that makes it, and a few other people as well, it makes it much harder for the dream to even kind of get set in your memory at all.
Have you guys
Yeah,
seen
just
those
immerse
experiments
yourself
that
in
they take a cat and they disconnect some part of the brain to the physical body, and the cat acts out like chasing a butterfly? Yeah, there's like videos. I know it's pretty sad, but like there's something in Psych would probably know about this. There's something that shuts off your physical body when you're dreaming, and if it wasn't, you'd be running around your bedroom and bumping into walls.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It's
Called,
called
that gets released into the brainstem or something, isn't it?
I
Goes
think
around
your
that
brain
area.
inhibits the firing of neurons in certain areas to stop you from moving, like the motor cortex and things like that.
That's also why
My cat is actually a very active sleeper. It's both hilarious and unnerving.
Fun fact, one of the lucid dreams.
Moving a lot.
Yeah, she moves a lot.
Is there a term for that or whatever?
I think she
Sleep
fights in her
paralysis.
sleep.
Sleep paralysis.
She dreams about fighting because she reacts a lot like she's fighting.
Reaching again.
I can't just go comatose.
Definitely, like actually, I think environment has a lot to do with like Pinky might have this issue. Like I don't remember any of my dreams, but almost every time when I'm waking up and going immediately to work. So when my alarm goes off, I jump out of bed and I have to get ready. Where when I was in college, I used to always do my first class and then I'd go take a nap in this lounge. Right, the sun's up, and I would every time on this sofa I would have lucid dreams every single time.
Yeah,
and
naps,
it was
like
something about
naps right after waking up.
only slightly being awake or something. I don't know what it is, but I would lucid dream every time. I'm
gonna try that now.
Yep.
It makes sense. Like I know that for me, it's kind of weird. I kind of feel like I enter the dream state before I'm completely asleep. I'm not sure why, but often I catch myself like in the time when I'm falling asleep when I realize, hey, I just started dreaming even though I wasn't fully asleep yet.
That sounds like one of the dream like the techniques that you or that you kind of learn to do is that you kind of go immediately from waking to dreaming without that middle part.
Without losing consciousness.
Right, yeah.
Wake-induced lucid dreaming, I think it is, or wild.
Yeah. The
I think that's the one.
wild method.
I found that I don't even do it as
successful
an
time is
attempt to
terrifying.
try to lucid dream. it just happens to me. That's just how I sleep.
Right. It doesn't. Yeah, but it doesn't happen to everyone. So if you want to try to
I
lucid
found that
dream, that's
happens a
something.
lot when you're
sleep deprived. If you're doing that intentionally, or if you have stayed up really late, you get in those kind of states where you start dreaming before you're fully asleep, and that does help with lucid dreaming.
In high school, when
I
I was
don't
really
consider
tired, that
myself
happened to me
sleep
quite often.
deprived because I usually just go to sleep whenever. But
what were you saying, Melody?
Oh, I can attest to that. In high school, when I was really tired, like early in the morning, I used to fall asleep, and I would always dream, like immediately as soon as my head hit the desk. So, yeah, I can attest to that. That happens quite
Is
often.
that because like your brain is ready to drop into REM sleep?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
There's
tired.
a different method. There's a test where you can hold a spoon next to a like a metal tray off your bed, and you can start a timer, and you can find out how quickly you drop the spoon, and it'll tell you how sleep deprived you are, something along those lines. So like they study those people, and they fall asleep quickly, then they're really tired, and if it takes them a long time, then they're less sleep deprived.
Actually, on the note of Melody saying going back to sleep and after that having the dreams, I do notice because I have a weird sleep schedule. I'll go to bed and then I get up about a couple hours before I have to go to work, do my stuff, and go like back down, fall asleep till I have to walk out the door. And I do notice almost every time in that like hour and a half, 2 hours of additional sleep is almost always accompanied by a dream.
I think there's a different technique. There's another technique that involves interrupted sleep, where you're supposed to wake yourself up and then go back to sleep.
Yeah.
Just enough to wake you up. There it is.
When I do.
I want to set my alarm for like 4 a.m. now. Yeah, I just do it.
No, I'm not the only one I'm not the only nut job who does that. It's good to know.
I have horrible sleep problems. Everyone in the VR chat knows I have all kinds of weird hours in sleep. Like I could probably be up for 30 and go to bed for 8. So I'm always having weird dream states.
What is it? I hear that just talking about dreams just naturally helps you sort of achieve lucidity.
Yeah.
So
You're thinking about
we're all gonna do it tonight, man.
I hope so. Yeah, if anybody has a lucid dream tonight, come tell us about it.
We're actually asleep now, and we're all having lucid dreams together.
Wait, whose dream is this?
Yeah.
That means you feel. It's kind of weird. I used to really want to lucid dream. I used to keep trying to do that, but I think now, if given the option, I would actually prefer to have a normal dream. It's sort of like puts you in this movie, and only after you finish the movie, you know you've been in it. And I think that's kind of it has its own appeal. Is what I'm saying making sense?
It's like playing a game versus watching a game. Sometimes you just want to watch it instead of play it.
Yeah.
No. I mean, it still happens to you, but I think it just makes it all the more interesting if while it's happening, you think it's reality. You know.
Can you imagine when they start to broadcast those or wirelessly connect them together?
Oh,
so then there is Twitch for dreamers.
We can't have that.
We have neural lace.
That would cause some interesting situations.
Before we get into the technology aspect of all this, like I want one quick question, because something that didn't occur to me. Like the reason I got into lucid dreaming because I thought it'd be fun. I'd do a bunch of shit I couldn't do in real life. But I think you brought up, or someone, the ability to like talk to characters in your dream, because like you really are talking to a version of yourself or like different parts of your brain.
Well,
like that seems incredibly valuable.
Yeah, like I mentioned that when I lucid dream, I can't control anything. But what I do get to do is have conversations with my dream characters, and whenever I converse with a dream character, they always know that they're dream characters, and we usually will have a conversation about the nature of like the dream that I'm in, and like I'll try to ask questions about them and like understand what exactly they are, because
I'm just
like
sorry.
Yeah, well, but they all think that they're real too. So like they'll tell me that they exist in other ways, that they exist in other realms.
The news to them,
and that
you have to be like, no, I'm sorry.
But how do I know is the thing too, and so like it's just
like entities.
Right, so
like there are these entities that almost feel like they're not just constructions out of my mind, and this is going to sound a little deep, but when I'm dreaming sometimes I do wonder if it's other realms, or if it's other dimensions, if it's other, because some of these characters and some of these things that happen to me anyway, I don't feel like I could make up.
Yeah,
it's kind of interesting how the brain can
dream
construct
characters like repeatedly telling me that they exist independently. You know, it kind of like it. That's one of the reasons I want to get more into lucid dreaming, or at least exploring dreams a little bit, because they like even if they are like independent entities in like just created by my mind, like does that belief really exist? So it's, I don't know, it's kind of interesting.
I mean, this is where in psychotherapy, there's like my mentor has a model. My old mentor, like Clara Hill, she has a model in psychotherapy of how to analyze dreams, and part of it is like connecting. You do this process of like choosing 3 images from the dream that are, and then you describe them in first person, and then you go through and you talk about free association with each image that occurs to you, and then waking life triggers that are related to each image. And then you can actually come up with a way to change the dream or resolve the dream. So there's like this whole process. It's like an hour and a half long process, but you basically try to reactivate the underlying emotions that the person experienced in the dream by vividly describing like these 3 images. And it's interesting because I've listened to interviews or like psychotherapy sessions that were recorded about this, and people will often actually find waking life triggers after they've gone through and described the images and reactivated those emotions. Then they'll realize that, oh yeah, actually in my childhood there was this one object that reminded me of that really strange character. Or, you know, so sometimes you have to kind of reactivate that underlying emotional state to actually get back to those waking life triggers and connect the dots of like where in real life these characters
Is that
be
like,
coming
how
from.
can you know that it stemmed from that like childhood place and wasn't just an association that was made after the fact?
You don't? I mean, that's true. And I think this, you know, there's these dream books or whatever that say, oh, this symbol always means this. I mean, at least in the psych community, that's kind of regarded as kind of, you know, pseudoscience or something, because really
Right.
what it is often, you know, but really one question is, does it matter? Like if it can provide insight into someone's own life and it can say, oh, this is related to something or you think this is related to something in your childhood. Okay, was it a conflict? Was it something that you had to struggle through? Can we talk about it now? Is it bringing up something that you wouldn't have necessarily brought up in a therapy session had you not thought about that symbol in childhood? So then it becomes a question of what is the useful, you know, but yeah, it could be a placebo. It could be like, oh, I'm just remembering this from childhood, even though it didn't actually happen.
It's Inception, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Retconning
Jump in there, Madman.
stuff.
Just go for it.
Okay, I got a crazy question. This doesn't have, well, this is out of the scope of lucid dreaming. How many people dream,
Okay.
well, when you remember your dreams, how many people dream like obscure future things? I guess it's more, if...
What do you mean future
Not
things?
really. Just
like
things.
kind of predicting the
I know what
future.
you're talking about. Yeah,
Like deja
vu.
it's in the opposite way. Like I quite often I'll have the sensation that something occurs and I dreamed about it previously. It's a type of deja vu where rather than feeling like it's occurred before, you feel like you dreamed about something,
But
and
you're
it's always
talking
something
about
incredibly.
But you're talking about in the context of noticing after the fact. I think Madman means
Yes.
like, I know that this is the future in the moment of remembering the dream.
Oh, maybe like, but it's a trick that your mind does to make you think that like, oh wow, I dreamed about this. You didn't, but you feel like it, and it's always something completely inconsequential.
Actually, I do have like repetitive tropes
Because I've had
that
that
appear in
I really did remember the dream beforehand, and then it happened sometime in the future. So I remember the dream, and then it happened. So there are some. Like,
But you're right.
it's
It's
not
always
like
totally
anything.
inconsequential. It's like a moment where like nothing important is happening, and it doesn't really. Nothing is going on, but it's like, oh, this moment. I knew this moment was coming, and it's like I'm turning left on a street. Oh, I knew this moment was coming. It's
it's kind of small stuff
inconsequential.
like that,
having this daily.
But there are some other stuff.
But,
I'm having this daily.
I think this is like valuable, right? If you explore it and sort of analyze it, but as long as you're not like locked into things, right? Psych, like you mentioned that book where like the symbols are very, like, it's like if when your teeth fall out, it always means this, and you know there's some
like
kind of
the moon,
and,
yeah.
like that's not true, and we probably shouldn't like rely on that, but we can still, you know,
it's a spring
analyze the symbols. It
relate
might mean
to this
something
with,
to you. Yeah.
I had a bunch of dreams throughout the 80s when I was a teenager. This was way before 3D games, right? I had a bunch of dreams about being in the military, running through little caves, like really squared off caves, all this stuff, like 15 years before the first person shooter ever came out. And now that I think back on it, those dreams seem an awful lot like all those games I played later in life.
Yeah,
Now, did
very
you remember
predictive.
those? Are those dreams accessible to you in everyday life, or has this specific conversation acted as like a waking life trigger to remember those dreams that you hadn't thought of in a long time?
I've had a conversation about those dreams. What
up?
In between those times, but yeah, I mean, each time I think about it, I do remember this as one of those connections. And it's a lot like what Madman's saying. It's like I feel like I predicted the future, but I don't,
Wow.
It could be just a memory connection.
I can't sit down.
Owlboy, did you have something to say? I saw you raise your hand.
Oh yeah, I had a comment about the deja vu thing. One of the theories about the deja vu thing is that it's just your mind processing something twice in quick succession. And you're not conscious of
I
that.
understand that deja vus are when your mind accidentally stores something in long-term memory instead of in short-term memory. That's what I heard.
Yeah, like it hits short-term, long-term memory first, and then short-term memory.
It's like a race condition. All your senses don't sense things and move at the same speed. So what happens is your body just accidentally processes your visual stimulation before it processes your audio stimulation or something like that, and it feels like it's happened twice in a row.
Yeah, it sounds like nobody knows.
What does it mean if you have it happen every day all the time?
Damn it! Wake up!
Memory glitches. Then you might actually be in a
we're allowed to take naps today. This is the day everybody can take a nap.
Yeah, this is.
I know,
he's slept for like 3 hours.
I do know the reasoning behind deja vu.
You do?
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead, have the scene.
Yeah.
The skeleton has an idea.
Interesting.
Let's hear it.
Well, it's basically the concept behind it is that when you fall asleep, your brain tries to store things in short-term or long-term memory. Deja vu happens when your brain it's basically that. It accesses the wrong section of your brain and reads something that should have been short-term as long-term. Thus, things seem like they're happening again, but they're not. It's just a previous memory incorrectly read.
Is this a meta joke? Because Tomix just said that. Deja vu?
I know.
Does any of this ring true to you?
I couldn't hear him. Everyone was being loud.
Short-term and long-term memory are not necessarily two different things. It's more networks and things like that. I think the theories about like embodied cognition and I think what actually deja vu seems to fit in with the idea that we're actually predicting our environment continuously. So this idea that how do we put all our senses together is that we're actually predicting what's going to happen in the moment, and our attention is drawn to violations of that prediction. So if someone changes an avatar, all of a sudden your attention is drawn to that because it's a change in the environment you didn't predict or whatever. Like,
but the experience is that you, it's like you did predict it.
No, so that process of prediction is where the theory of deja vu in embodied cognition is like somewhere in that process of prediction. It's like a double. You're just it's something about like a second time occurring of that prediction, as opposed to thinking that your brain is sorting sensory stimuli into either long-term or short-term memory, because everything goes through your short-term memory and processing of your environment. And then it's stored in long-term memory. So it's not like things can it's not a dichotomous like, oh, this sensory stimulus is going to be put in long-term memory and this sensory stimulus is going to be put in short-term memory.
I think you may be right, but I think there is a book, I think there's at least one book out there that describes it like that, because like there's so many of us that have it, and I seem to have read it somewhere.
Yeah,
so
I'll have to read about it more, though. I don't know.
I do know something that hasn't been said, though. Does anyone want to know what the opposite of deja vu is?
What?
Jamais vu?
Amnesia?
Yeah, jamais vu. It is the idea of experiencing something you feel is new, but at the same time feeling like you've done it previously.
Okay, so like you have done it previously, but it feels new? Is that?
No,
is
as
that
in
what it
like
is?
you are doing something new, but it feels like you've done it previously.
Isn't that just deja vu? So it's sort of similar. Hypertech, did you have something?
Yeah, I had some experiences like Law was talking about, when you have this dream and then you're like, oh, what a weird dream, and then like maybe 1 year later you're in this situation and you have like this exactly identical scenario, and you're like, wait, and this is gonna happen, and it happens, and then somebody
I've had that.
he's gonna say this exactly, and he says it, and you're like, what? But I remember dreaming this. Like, it's so weird. And I know people say
You just think you
people say like it's like, is
necessarily.
it confirmation bias or not? It's just so specific. It's really weird feeling.
Here's another one.
I've had that, but I was a kid. I had.
Anyone know what parvez-vous means?
Oh wait, hold on. Spider-Man, I can't see your username.
Is that when
but
Deja Vu's kosher?
Sorry.
Ah, hey man.
Parvez-vous is on the tip of your tongue. It's that feeling when you can't remember something and it's on the tip of your tongue and you're dragging yourself trying to remember what it is. That
and you're having
is parvez-vous.
You were having that trying to remember what jamais-vu was, right? Or you know what that was.
Totally.
I reminded you.
That is like the perfect place for talking
Blazer Jake, what were you?
Thank you.
It is. I was thinking that Red Skeleton is just like a sideshow. You know, and there's some TV show. There used to be a late night show. There's a skeleton on the side.
The condenser mic helps too.
All right, Spider-Man.
Yeah, I was saying. So like I had like a number of years ago, kind of like a shift with my dreams. There was a weird experience where I had this one dream where it was just the craziest dream I've ever had. There was like, you know, there were witches and some things didn't make sense, and I was flying at one point, and it just everything went nuts. And at some point, I'm like, I finally realized, I'm like, okay, I'm dreaming, right? It's like I became aware that I was dreaming because it was just so absurd, right? And then I'm like, okay, well now I'm gonna have fun with it. So then I started doing all kinds of crazy stuff more. But then I started to like, when I was trying to like fly, I started losing control, right? And the moment I completely lost control,
That's what we talked about.
I wasn't. Oh, I don't know. Why? The moment I lost control, I dreamt that I woke up, and then I didn't know that I was dreaming anymore.
False awakening. Okay, yeah.
We haven't talked about that
Oh,
yet.
I had one time that I had like 5 false awakenings in a row. It was horrible.
The weird thing is, ever since that happened, I've never been able to remember my dreams for more than like a few seconds. Like I know I'm dreaming, but I can't remember my dreams past like a few seconds after I wake up. Like, and it was ever since then. And it's the weirdest thing. Like I just.
That's probably when my method of repeating the dream out loud helps the most. As soon as you wake up, just repeat the dream out loud to yourself. That will help you remember it. Even for the rest of the day, you'll remember it as long as you just repeat it out loud.
So we're already over an hour and we haven't gotten to the next segment. So let's jump into where we were going to go, and we don't have to go through the well, there were going to be, but we should have known this lucid dreaming would take up a full hour.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But we wanted to talk about. Oh, okay. So for those of you who are new, this is Endgame, which is a kind of a weekly podcast where we get together and we talk about the future of humanity, and like where humanity's headed, and so like our episode today is a little bit abstract. We're kind of talking about dreams in general, and dreams obviously are part of our out of our past and present and hopefully our future, but kind of wanted to get to the environment that we're in right now. Someone over here joked that that we were all in a dream together, but I mean, if you look at it a certain way, in our minds during dreams, our mind is generating this artificial reality for us to inhabit temporarily, and but right now we're just using our program technology to achieve the exact same thing, but we all get to inhabit the same dream together. But the similarities seem kind of striking. In fact, I wonder if you could even. Do you think it's possible, like on a collective scale, if you could use the images from like the virtual world to correspond to like waking life triggers like in the real world? Is that something is that a connection you could make, or is that just totally speculative?
Sarah says not so much.
Yeah, I think that's something that can happen.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
I don't know. Like, can you psychoanalyze the virtual dream, the metaverse, as if it were a dream?
Well, I imagine you can analyze it in the same sense that you can analyze the choices any person makes in their real life. Like, if you can analyze someone's fashion sense, and you can analyze someone's avatar. If you can, you can analyze how they choose to portray themselves, etc.
Yeah, when we went around in real world, virtual world, like a year ago or something, when we went around and each person said why they chose the avatar that they chose, it got into some really, really deep things about people's identity and things like that. So I do think that there's, I think that, but that's more choice and creation. So if people have a choice in what world they prefer or where they're going and all that kind of stuff, then I think it can be helpful. But again, it comes back to us being, it's less of a definite symbol of meaning and more a springboard of allowing the person to kind of start describing like what's meaningful about their avatar and things like that, but less of a concrete, like for everyone who's like a bug, that means a specific thing, it's more about like each individual.
Could you use information about what the metaverse is like to learn new things about humanity in general, like collectively, if we're all gonna, especially as the population grows.
It is an artifact of humanity. So,
right.
That's a really good point.
Well, there are some. I think they made some experiments with Facebook, in which they illegally like switch things around in people's news.
Manipulate emotion.
And then they gauge their reaction. So you could actually use, like, if the metaverse is an extension of the internet, you could actually use this, like, eventually use the things that happen in VR as a part of a psychoanalyzing mass amounts of people.
Yeah, anthropological study too,
So,
to see
I think
culture.
it will happen.
I mean, look, guys, we are part of like a new culture, I mean, yeah, there's Second Life and things like that, but this culture, I would argue, I think that would be a cool topic eventually. Exactly.
Numbers.
I didn't get it. What happened?
That is our God.
Somebody said
it's happening, though. He brought a cultural element up that we're all familiar with. Well, not all of us, but most of us are familiar with.
I arrived today, so I have no clue.
Okay, well, no worries. You'll get acclimated soon enough.
But there's a lot. There's more meat in analyzing. There's more meat when you're analyzing the metaverse, right? Like, as opposed to, like, he's calling it a cultural artifact or something. Like maybe like history, you could look into history and analyze things that have happened. But this is the most dreamlike thing we've ever done, where like we create ourselves, we create the environment, we end up doing whatever we want. And so like it's the closest you can look into, I think, what our dreams are, right? Like what we
free exploration
want to see happen in a way. Yeah.
That's a good point.
Morpheus is here, Goblin.
Attack on Dreamland.
It's White Morpheus.
We were just talking about
entrance.
You can also.
It's just the lighting in the room.
You can also say that as the
from my perspective, I'm pretty
metaverse
black.
progresses and more people are in it and more of it's developed, that it becomes more.
Wait, can you come into
of
the middle?
like,
I can't hear you.
Sorry,
Your
I was
mic's a
saying.
little bit low.
Is it? Oh, it's
No,
up
I think
way.
it's as loud as it gets.
I was saying that like as the metaverse progresses and as like more people come into it and as more of it gets developed and stuff, like you could say that it's almost an expression of like a collective human consciousness. Like you could say that like humanity as a whole like subtly shapes the metaverse, to suit what they want, and so like it can be seen like that as an expression of humanity's consciousness.
Yeah.
So like what happens when that takes over, right? Like if we go down Ready Player One's path or whatever, and like the metaverse becomes the main thing and we control it and all of our dreams come true.
Haven't seen it.
What is that? Where does that lead us? Like, does that change?
Been not watching
does
adverts
that change
and
our? Does that change us somehow? Like, what does that mean for the future?
Because right now, like he mentioned, we build the metaverse according to what we want, right? But if the metaverse gets big enough and forceful enough, it will in turn influence us. And so instead of being this thing that we're creating, it'll reach back and take part in creating us as well.
Well, that's what culture is.
That's kind of
yeah, exactly.
Right, exactly.
So the metaverse.
Yes.
So I guess are we all agreeing? I guess that the metaverse is a new culture that's going to continue to, and as it continues to grow, that it's going to continue to influence the human population more and more, and continue to evolve in like a.
Yes, I don't think virtual reality is necessarily what started.
Hang on, we've got two people talking at the same time. Someone's got to go first.
Come into the middle if you're going to talk, so we can.
Yeah, good idea.
Whoever that is.
Then you have to dance battle if you both want to talk at the same time.
Who was it? Get over here.
I think it was Tonic.
Come on. Get the middle.
Come on. Follow the little cowboy.
No
one wants to say it.
I'll make a comment. It's like when you're analyzing films or books or news media, mass media. It's part of the collective societal consciousness in a way. So now that VR is simultaneously like a reality and a production of media, so I don't know how to end this sentence. It's just some weird mixture.
It's gonna
that
be
we've never
like
had before.
In there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like to think that.
Who's next?
Letty or
Letty?
Comics?
I forgot what I was going to say now all of a sudden.
Okay. Well, I have a comment
Same.
from Sarah if we
Sorry.
have a moment.
Sure.
So Sarah was mentioning that, so I'm just reading off what she said. Perceptually, our wants and desires will perpetually be based on the norm that we ascribe to. A metaverse versus a regular verse, or just the medium in which I guess we see those. Hopefully I'm not mangling that.
But I think that's interesting. I think that it's this medium is new in the fact that, and I think that's what Bobo you're getting at too, is like it is more dreamlike in that we can create fantastic realities and be different people that we would never be able to be in real life. Like, what is Mr. Pinky? Like, look at that. Like, you can't do that.
Yeah,
in
like
real life.
what is
Like,
that? Yeah, like you might see them in the room.
I'm saying, like, you just
That's
a weird feeling.
I know somebody like that.
That's Pinky on a tablet mode. That's tablet mode Pinky.
But yeah, it's
Gallium.
Just an artistic rendition of itself.
That reminded me of what I wanted to say. That I don't actually think virtual reality is the beginning of this culture. I think it did begin with the more standard virtual worlds such as Second Life and all those. I definitely think that virtual reality gives it another big step, and the more it grows, it'll probably grow in a similar direction.
Well, I think like with Second Life, what you've got there, like what you've got with other pieces of media, is just images on a screen. I mean, the experience of actually being somewhere is what's being created here. It's not just images on a screen anymore. It's a perceptual experience being generated.
It's first person.
I'll raise my hand if I can.
Gallium, I just want to say that
VR, man.
Yep.
There was actually a study, and Gallium, we'll get to you in a second, but I just want to respond to that by saying there's a study that actually came out just now that compared memory, looking at a 2D screen with immersion in a headset, and they found that the type of memory that you create when looking at a 2D screen in a virtual world when you have to navigate a space is more like episodic memory, but the memory that you create from like an experience, or not episodic, the memory you create from an experience is more like a real life memory that you have in VR, whereas with the 2D screen it's very different. It's like a kind of fragmented small memory or whatever. But Gallium, what were you going to say?
So something someone said about culture. In some cultures, essentially the world of dreams is often also the same as generally the underworld. Like in the in Greek mythology, it is the the various different gods and goddesses of the dream, of the sort of the dreamlike things. Morpheus, Hypnos, and I think a couple of others. They also hang around in Hades, the underworld. But also when you start kind of get into a bit more of the weirder side of that kind of stuff, often the stuff where you have to start reading odd books. It often tends to be that the underworld or the world of dreams is often the first stage in sort of, I don't know, going further beyond sort of what generally people perceived as the base reality. So what the question is, the question I'm putting forward is, we've, as humanity, we've created essentially a piece of technology that in a way allows us to, in currently a pretty hacky and mucky way, but enter into a shared world of dreams.
This is gorgeous.
I know, but so I'm just wondering what people think. What could that really be? Are we sort of?
I like that idea.
With virtual reality, are we taking the first step? Sort of on.
And
who knows what?
In all sorts of different cultures, dreams are seen as like the contact point with the other side, whatever that other side is, whether it's the underworld or the worlds of the gods or you know, anything like that. And so now, you know, humanity has reached into it so deeply that we're creating our own, you know, tapping into that other side. And what could that mean for us? I don't know. I like those ideas though. Cassidius, you had something to say and you couldn't raise your hand. And
no, I can't. He was spinning his head around. It's just so ridiculous.
I don't have the hands. I can't. So I just wanted to say my little bit about how he said about previous virtual worlds like Second Life, and I think it is sort of like that, but it stretches actually further back than that. Like even going so far as New Worlds and even old text-based ones. It's less about the technology that drives it, but more the evolution of this world that we are creating together. This sort of non-corporeal one.
I think there is a difference, though. I think with virtual reality, the sensory experience.
But I'm saying is in like we originated on text, and then it grew to New Worlds where it was 3D, and now it's grown to here.
I mean,
but I feel like we're tricking our
history. It's part of a huge kind of tradition of humanity. Like, our fiction has always been a part of our world. But as we've gotten more and more ways of communicating, like first with the printing press, and then with pictures, and then moving pictures, and then, you know, interactive devices that we can type on and receive a response instantly from another person. We're making our fiction more and more, like you said, we're giving it more and more fidelity each time. We're capturing that in a new way each time, and making it a deeper and deeper experience for us. So I see what is that sort of what you were talking about? I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
May I say something that I find really interesting about what you just said, though, is I find it really interesting how little there's actually people getting immersed into a role in virtual reality. You'd think there would be more like role plays and stuff like that. I've not even seen anyone do that. I mean, it might exist, but
shameless plug for
I think
the on Sundays.
I think we saw elicit that a lot. You know, the more realistic
for most
that
people,
are.
I think it's the disconnect, because with traditional role play and that, it's separated from you with the animations.
Yeah,
that's
I think it has to do with the environment, because I've done role playing in VR, but in the context of a game. So like coming here to VR chat where it's really open and like there's not much context, like that makes it harder to role play. But if there is a specific context, like in Owlboy's Pug, which is a bar, like you can like role playing as like a bartender or a patron is like very, very common, and so that's kind of a so like that does happen. I
That's
think
less
it's, I
sinking
think it's on
into a
its way.
character and more just your interaction with your environment.
Sarah.
Like, when I was at his pub, I acted like a patron, but regardless of my avatar, I still acted as myself. I wasn't adapting a character onto myself, though.
There's no context
The
for it.
environment.
But
is a
what I'm
character.
saying is, like, there's the whole area of VR chat, like the role play rooms or whatever you call them. It's like this whole big area, and I never see anyone else really there.
It's again, I think it's because of the context of the story. Like, people roleplay in the Star Trek game, right? Like, isn't that the thing that you do when you're playing the Star Trek game?
I
Still
wouldn't know, I don't have it.
can't beat that experience.
You what?
I still can't have that experience yet.
So we're heading towards a nice conclusion, but
yeah,
But there are,
Yeah.
but I've heard
Basically,
there are
I think it's
upcoming
on its
more
way.
RPG games.
Role playing, I mean.
Yeah,
I think that's inevitably where we end up. I think we're gonna go away from other entertainment and embody it ourselves. Right? We'll all be a part of the story, and it's gonna include a lot of new technology and a lot of new shit. It's gonna be awesome.
It's gonna be sold out online in real life.
Alboy, you had your hand up.
worries me.
Yeah, I just had one more comment about that role playing thing where with the pug and stuff, I don't ever think about it as classic role playing like you are. I think VR makes it a little bit different where maybe you can role play, but then it becomes a very specific thing that you really have to work at.
I think it exercises your acting abilities a lot more.
For sure.
Right.
That's
what I'm getting at. I don't think I'm acting. Role playing sounds like acting to me. You're acting a role. I don't act when I'm in the pug. I'm just myself, but I happen to be a bartender. That's the thing. You know what I mean? It's a little bit different, and it's weird because I just embody it, and I do what's natural, and it's good for helping me, just interact with people. And the people that come into the pug and interact with me, I don't think they think they're role playing either. I think they're just naturally doing cultural cues. You know.
Yeah, no, that's what I was saying. When I was there, I was just a patron. I wasn't a character, which is why I thought it was kind of different than actual role playing, which is what I was.
Why don't we just start one then?
Yeah, I think you should.
Why don't we just start a room?
Yeah, Decidious.
Fucking do it.
Decidious, start it. Do it.
I'm terrible at map making, so that...
Too bad. You're not going to do it. Or we're
Find someone. Find a
That
map
brings up
maker.
the subject of how many different types of role playing there is. And it sounds like you
that's
want to do
true.
fantasy.
Yeah, like
that's probably it. That's probably
No, the cause
an
of
episode in
comment.
itself.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
so
we'll have
back to dreaming.
Yeah, I was just whatever. Yeah. Sarah actually said something that I
And we need to
kind
be
of
sure
really
there
agree
will
with.
be Arabic there. And make sure.
Oh my goodness.
I thought this was interesting in talking about VR chat kind of being a dream in a way. She mentioned that it is like, so VR chat's kind of like a cognitive representation of a dream, whereas normal dreams were kind of controlled by the subconscious mind. So in VR chat we have a conscious choice in the avatars and the worlds that we make, whereas in a dream our subconscious mind kind of throws stuff at us without much of our control. So
Sure,
so
but
it's
how
still a
about
dream.
this?
Like VR chat is like a dream, but it's like a cognitive
Yeah, but
experience
how
where we're
about
actually-
maybe it's the dream of the collective subconscious? Hmm?
Yeah, well, it is in a way. Actually, that actually is true.
I like that.
think that it is
I
a
think that was a
collective
good
dream
nugget.
as opposed to
Life is the most
lucid
lucid
dream.
dream.
Yep.
Maybe the
Yeah, there is the
collective
theory in the
conscious,
collective
though.
unconscious, but in this case, we have manifested it because we are all here. So
Wouldn't it be the collective
Or are we?
conscious, though?
You need to wake up.
Since
Lessa.
yeah,
Subconscious is everything that you're not conscious of. So everything that's not.
Yeah, I know, but
recognized as
that's
a
what I mean. Is in like it's
spirit.
it's we're all putting forward our conscious,
consciously made.
Sure,
oh,
but there's
God, wow.
plenty of subconscious
pee.
information there too.
Okay, Helmet, you're gonna bring us in for the close here.
Do you need
Yeah,
to
all right,
consciously or subconsciously?
We need a last nugget of wisdom from Sakayama.
Yeah, you got it for us?
Yeah.
All right, I think I got it one then. So we were talking about dream characters and role playing and other things like that. You were saying before that you sort of thought of your dream characters as almost like real people, but like something separate from you. The way I sort of think about it, it's your your conscious mind, your awareness interacting with subconscious mind. You know, the dream characters, the thing, you know, the thing that's creating these worlds without you sort of like, you know, yourself actually creating it. You know, it's this sort of balance between the two. In VR, we're using our conscious minds to sort of, you know, interact with people and meet. And when we go into dreams, it's all sort of, you know, what we've absorbed from the day and absorbed from the day, and our brain is processing it through a dream almost. Yeah, that's sort of how I see things. But yeah.
Cool. All right.
So the metaverse is sort of processing what's happening to us culturally. in a way,
processing
like.
processing our real life with us as we go
and
through it and interact with it.
We should have an episode on the metaverse. I think that would be great.
I think that'll be connected to Ready Player One. I think
that would be great. Actually, that would be good. Yeah, that'd be a good episode.
The assignment is still out there, though. We're going to talk about the book. You read the book. It'll be in a few weeks. We'll do a show about that.
Yes.
Ready Player One.
Read the book.
Almost
finished.
It's really good.
So
I kind of don't want to see it. I want to see the movie first.
Yes.
The movie already did announce that the book will still be. I think will still be.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming. We got to do a group photo. Let's do it. Should we all line up over there by Gallium and Alloy?
Can we all do? Before we all do the dying emoji, we'll look like we're all sleeping.
Yeah, someone go to the center.
Try that. What the time?
There we go. Yeah, that would be hard.
I'll get out of the photo.
No.
Oh, what are you gonna do? Right here. Ghost can do it. Remember, he's actually here in the middle.
Use a camera.
Yeah, but a camera won't work on the YouTube.
Wait, I don't want to block anyone.
I need a classic picture for the YouTube for the video, bro.
360.
Pano for the sake of Pano.
Yeah, everybody spread out
again. Take the Pano.
360.
All right.
I say everybody. Oh, y'all doing 360?
Everyone spread out. Okay.
I don't know if that would work.
Yeah, that would be hard to find.
And everybody's sleeping. Follow next. You're sleeping on your partner.
Oh, okay.
What do you mean sleeping?
Should I be in this?
Yes, lie down.
Yeah.
Yes.
You were here.
Yeah, can you lie
Come on,
down?
Psycho. Your shadow needs you.
Like Mr. Pinky's still taking a lot of space up here.
Oh.
2017.
5613.
All right, now we all go over there.
Okay, now for a real picture. Real. Traditional.
We'll have Garth in front.
I'm a tall boy, so I guess I'll get back.
What's wrong with me?
I'll be in
Coaster.
the front because I'm
Coaster.
short.
Before we take the picture, I need to know, is my head broken because of the chairs?
Shadow. Wait, no.
No, it's not. But I'm broken. Look at me.
Am I good?
Hey, I can crouch.
I'm broken.
Whoops.
Hey, Shadow. Comics. Let's go over here. Let's stand here.
Okay.
Where do I
Stand all the way up.
What? Okay.
Hurry up.
Whoa, wait, whoa.
Cheers.
Yay.
Awesome. You know what we should try really quickly? Like, can we just shoot a quick sketch with somebody waking up